back in your little suburban house in time to see the football game.
Mr. Queen's got a brother-in-law back up in there somewhere. He took off hunting a couple of 3 days ago, and nobody's heard from him since.
Sometimes you have to lose yourself before you can find anything.
All right, keep your eyes open, Robert.
Come on. Attaboy. Attaboy.
You don't beat it. Don't beat this river. Machines are gonna fail. And the system's gonna fail.
And then what?
Then survival.
You ain't never gonna get down, Dan.
Come on, squeal! Squeal!
You're gonna do some praying for me, boys. And you better pray good.
Now you get to play the game. God damn it! You never get out of this gorge alive! Release. Don't ever do nothing like this again.
I told them, like we said. But I don't think they believe me.
Don't come back up here. I don't remember nothing. Nothing. I'd kind of like to see this town die peaceful.
Let's just wait and see what comes out of the river.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to Movie Watch Live. Tonight we're celebrating the 50th anniversary to the day of one of the most enigmatic and disturbing movies ever made, unarguably one of the most influential ever made, Deliverance, directed by John Borman from 1972 and starring Burt Reynolds, John Voight, Ned Beatty, Ronnie Cox as the main four characters, with Bill McKenney and Herbert Cowboy Coward as mountain men. James Dickey also stars in the movie, who actually wrote the book the movie's based on and wrote the screenplay, and also Billy Redden as Lonnie the Banjo Boy, and also Macon McCalman as Deputy Queen. And joining me tonight, if I can get my boomerish skills in order, is my guests, which are Captain Dick Coheek and Jellicoe, Jeff Purdy Mouth Potts, and Ralph Rapids.
Yes, I went there.
You sure do have a pretty mouth.
You know,
And this movie's
I'm really, really wondering what you've talked me into doing.
talked you into watching one of the most disturbing scenes. It remains today probably one of the most disturbing scenes in cinema history, still today. And the probably three of the most famous lines in cinema history as well, which we'll get to in due course. But let's introduce our guests more now, and just first of all go straight away to Ralph. And Ralph joins us as Ralph of the Rapids, who I think has seen this movie before, haven't you, Ralph?
You know what? I don't think I have. So I have tried to not really refresh my memory on it, but this one, you know, this is a bit outside of what I would normally watch, so it should be an adventure.
It is
and I may have
definitely
nightmares.
outside. It's definitely outside of what you normally would watch. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah.
And joining us also tonight, Jeff Purdy-Mouth Potts, who is an accomplished author. He has published works. Tell me the title of your book, Jeff.
The Revenant and the Tomb.
Available on
Amazon, Audible, Barnes and Noble, Apple. It's freaking everywhere.
Heck
and
yeah.
we were
He writes real pretty too.
Yeah.
It's got pretty rotten hands.
Writes better than a pig. Right like a pig, boy.
Now, I've been looking for the word forsooth in here, and I ain't found it.
So we talked about. I mean, last movie we did was Firefox, and that was a movie which was taken from a book, and also the guy who did the screenplay was the author who wrote the book. So one of those occasions where the transition from book to movie was done really well and very sincerely. Again, this is the same thing where you had the author who was an established writer, James Dickey, who was also the poet laureate, wasn't he, at the time? And
Yep.
His book was a massive success, which led to this movie being made, and he did the screenplay, wrote the screenplay for this, and he was so much involved that he actually plays the sheriff in the movie.
The weird part is that he was best known for his poetry. I went looking for a bunch of his books, and it's like poetry. Deliverance, poetry.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's one where it talks about his what is it? A starry place between the antlers. Why I live in South Carolina. I mean, you're not talking whatever great literary stories out there.
Yeah, but I mean, he was
Grapes of Wrath.
There you go.
But his poetry was very visceral and very much about the growing up in that part of the country and in being exposed to growing up in the countryside and in that part of the world, and that's very much part of this movie and the book it was based upon, because he was very much into nature and conservation, and that comes across, and there's one of the messages in this movie. It's not a green movie as such. It's not like an environmentalist movie, but it's something that comes across very clearly that he was in touch with nature, which is what these four characters want to do. They want to get in touch with nature because they've lost something, and they get much more than what they bargained for.
Well, that's the thing, that the prior generations were more connected to nature and doing outdoor sporting like fishing and hunting than successive generations, because like my great uncle and my grandfather, they used to go hunting and they used to go fishing and boating and all that other stuff. And as generations have gone on, we've sort of gone away from that, where more people, less and less people do it. And especially, people who have some sort of high status. Like even the old Hollywood actors, they used to go fishing and whatnot. And, they would do it for fun. And they, there's a picture, and I forget, it was North by Northwest or whatever, where I forget the actor now, but he was sitting there and he was cleaning. He had gone trout fishing. He was cleaning the fish. The guy knew how to clean the fish, so that's indicative that the guy kind of knew what was going on and how you take care of fish and all that. So it's just kind of weird that those people tend to be have more of an affinity to nature than later successive generations.
Yeah, I'm not even sure a lot of kids even know there is an outdoors now.
Yeah,
addicted to screens.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was at this time in America, I think in the 70s, where this transition period was where, those cities in the South were getting a lot bigger. A lot of infrastructure was being put in, and even countrified people. These were like the people in this movie are like the first generation of city slickers. They've lost touch with the. Well, if you're an Australian, you call it the outback. And if you're American, I don't know, you
backwoods,
just call it backwoods, so that kind of thing. And if you're British, you call it you're not allowed on my land without a license. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting part of history as well. This movie is poignant and really significant for many different reasons as well. First of all, it's the movie that really shot Burt Reynolds to fame. I mean, I remember seeing this movie, and I'd seen a couple of Burt Reynolds movies, but when I saw this movie, I realized, and I took Burt Reynolds seriously. I thought, this bloke actually can act.
So Gator didn't do it for you?
No, unfortunately not. But it shot up to fame overnight. He became a household name. It also, as well, pushed John Borman into the A-list of directors, catapulted into the top tier of movie directors, and of course, as well, it created two well-known names out of nowhere, because Ned Beatty and Ronnie Cox were theatre actors. They hadn't been in any, as far as I know, of any cinema roles.
No, I think this was Ronnie Cox's first movie.
Yeah, and of course, as we'll find out later on, that Ronnie is actually a well-accomplished folk musician, singer-songwriter. Yeah, but it worked perfectly, and it's an example, in my opinion. I'm going to say it at the outset straight away, gentlemen. It's an example of a perfect movie. The only thing I would criticize is there's a section of the movie where they use a black matte filter, because in the 70s, everything nighttime was filmed during the day.
Yeah.
But you can't really fault the movie for doing that, because that was a standard practice of the day. And, John Voight might be dead if they hadn't done that. John, we're going to make you climb up a cliff and the pitch.
Yeah.
Well, that and trying to light the location where they're actually filming, because they're actually really on the river in Georgia.
It'd be impossible.
Yeah, it'd be impossible to light.
Absolutely mad what they had to do, and the amount of injuries that occurred on set. Crazy stories. But we're going to get started with the movie. I just need to dig out my copy here, because we all have our own copy of the movie, and this channel is a commentary channel, reaction channel, review channel, whatever you want to call it. We will give you timestamps throughout the movie. We'll let you know where we are, and we'll be talking about the movie, describing what's happened, and also obviously giving you all of the inside knowledge on the movie itself, and the information about where it was filmed, the director, and things that you might not be aware of. So if you like just listening to people discussing the movie or talking about it, and you like that kind of thing, then this is a channel for you. We will not be showing a copy of the movie, because, as I say, we'll get a copyright strike. Not that hasn't happened anyway. However, having said that, we don't really care. So if you like this movie and you want to know more about it, then stay tuned. So we're going to get started with a copy. The movie is lengthwise, it is 109 minutes. So do
1 hour 49.
49.
Yeah. And for folks that are coming in, we apologize. If we could, we would show the movie as we talk over it. But I did drop a link in the chat. If you have a Netflix account, or if you have your own copy, the link I dropped in the chat, if you have Netflix, you can watch it using that link. So, you know,
There you go.
You know, it's a great movie. There's plenty of places you can rent it, and so we definitely recommend watching it. So.
And you might want to turn away. I'll give everybody a warning. About halfway through, there is a very famous. If you don't know that, if you're not familiar with the movie, there's a famous scene right in the middle, which involves pig noises and.
They making brisket.
Yeah, they are. It's a cookery scene.
Well, I know, but forward now.
Let's just say that it's a different kind of ham going on.
Baste that pig.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. You wouldn't like this kind of bacon. So just to warn everybody, that scene is in the middle of the movie, in case you weren't aware of that. So
honestly, from your promo, I was already terrified.
I was trying to work out how I would do that in the intro, and I thought I'll just have them saying it from a distance, as if you can hear them from afar in the woods.
As I said, like I've only ever seen this movie once, and
it's pretty hard.
It was harrowing.
It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
So let's get with it. And like I say, it's not a very long movie, but it's there's no fat on it. It moves along quite nicely. We'll be starting our copy of the movie soon, synchronizing it together. Got a little countdown video which we use to synchronize everything together, and it'll be 3, 2, 1, go. And when we say go, you start your copy of the movie. So without further ado, I will start my boomerism right now. I'll probably screw it up straight away, but let's do it. So gentlemen, if you're ready to start your paddle, put your paddle in the water.
That's a double entendre.
Yes. Dip your paddle in the water. Just watch out for mountain men. That's all I'm saying. Because up there in the Appalachians and in the woods of Georgia, there is no law. So
you make that sound steamy.
Yeah, like the forests of Georgia. Let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
There we go. So,
all right, Warner Brothers logo just came up.
That's it. So we know who we're going to get the copyright strike from. This image at the start, as they're talking about the fact that they're going to drown the river. What river is this? That was because this was filmed when they were they'd already dammed a river, isn't it?
No, they were about to dam the river. Let me see.
Because it's the Cohahlawasi River is the river in the story, which is obviously fictitious, but it was based upon another river that had been dammed recently.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and they show the dam under construction. That's the Jokasi Dam.
Yeah.
Let's see. It was inspired by the Kusawati River. Oh shoot! Where did it? Now I'm drawing a blank on where it was filmed.
South Carolina.
Well, it's at the very. Yeah, the dam is in South Carolina, and then they filmed. It's in the very northeastern tip of Georgia. Mm-hmm. So it's like you've got Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina all come together right at that place, mm-hmm. and they filmed in that very northeastern tip.
This is the movie that generated the whole hillbilly stereotype, isn't it? Of
okay,
I can hear banjos.
It's the Chattooga River is the one where it was actually filmed.
There we go. Which today is a mecca for everyone who wants to go whitewater rafting and lots of different activities. So many activities. So very briefly, 4 friends travel into the backwoods to sample this river before it goes forever, take a canoe trip, and before it's gone completely.
Yeah.
And they're going to be back by Sunday afternoon. That's the plan. And those four friends, like I say, John Voight, who plays Ed Gentry or Gentry, Burt Reynolds as Lewis Medlock, Ned Beatty as Bobby Tripe, and Ronnie Cox as Drew Ballinger. And it is true, though, isn't it, that these locations up in the mountains are a law unto themselves. It's scary because
yeah.
you're just literally finding yourself completely away from civilization.
Let me tell you, in my youth, I have been to many, many places that look exactly like this. Met people exactly like in this movie. I have never been forced to strip into my tidy whities and squeal.
No.
But
yet.
Yeah, that's true.
It's early days.
Well, that's what he's just said there, isn't he? Ned Beatty's character, Bobby's just said this must be where everything ends up. Because it's just left there to pile up.
I'm pretty sure in Washington, D.C., you pay for that type of, tidy whities and squealing.
Oh, yeah.
It'll cost you.
Yeah, the ironic thing about Ned Beatty saying that's where everybody ends up. Actually, most of those people, places like that, you're born, you live, and you die, and you never leave there. So, I've seen many cars like that.
We used to drive down to Myrtle Beach when I was younger, and it was mostly, a lot of it was tobacco fields, but yeah, it was like you saw areas like this where it was not really developed.
Yeah, you get out from the beach. Yeah.
Well, there's an interesting dynamic with Ned's character there, because all four characters are like elements of James Dickey's own character. All four of these characters are based upon parts of James Dickey when he wrote the book. And Ned represents the most like pompous, arrogant city urbanite of all four of them.
Yeah.
And he's just patronizing everybody here, and I think that's why he ends up getting punished the most by what happens. But we got the other thing, the big thing that this movie's famous for, gentlemen, is the dueling banjos.
Yep. Oh, that was huge back in the 70s.
Huge. Very huge.
It was huge.
Oh, yeah.
Bigger than anybody else's banjos.
It was great. It was huge. It was great.
Make banjos great again.
Probably one of the best banjos you could buy.
But there was actually controversy over it. Here we go. So this is the character of the banjo boy, Lonnie, played by Billy Redden, who I think I've got a picture of Billy Redden, actually, still alive today. And guess what? Billy Redden cannot play the banjo at all. He can't play the banjo.
Color me shocked.
And there's two theories on this. If you watch his hands, well, we also know him as the young Joe Biden from the memes. But one theory is that he had the banjo player stuck his arms through the sleeves of the shirt behind him, and he just sat there while the banjo player played the banjo. That's one theory, but I don't think he actually did that. He was just miming with his hands. But
yeah, I would say he's miming.
It's just miming,
just based on the hand size, but
plain old miming. But anyway, he's still alive today, Billy Redden. What does he look like? He doesn't look like Joe Biden.
Oh,
hey, let's see if we can see what the gas price is on this pump.
You know what? The gas station attendant has he has an authentic Appalachia accent. I'm impressed.
Oh yes, this guy was not an actor, and when he dances, that wasn't scripted either. That was all improvised and natural. So Billy Redden. And now he's been critical of that as well. But yeah, so the original script was it was going to be an African American kid who was an albino. So interesting. But I don't think they could get anybody like that. So they chose this guy, this lad, and made him look pale. But yeah, I didn't realize this. Ronnie Cox is really playing that guitar because he's actually a really good accomplished folk singer, songwriter, musician.
And he would eventually command the USS Enterprise.
He would.
Yeah.
And he'd lead OCP.
And make Riker look like a dick.
And he would try to kill all the mutants on Mars.
I had it coming, though.
Yeah. All the way from Atlanta, Georgia to Mars. I'm impressed.
To the Stargate program. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, like I looked into a bit into Ronnie Cox's folk singing and that, and he tours like every year. He does a tour to Ireland and back like every year, but he will turn down 90% of job offers for acting just so he can tour. Like he loves it.
Hey,
man
that's
happy
it.
with his man who's happy with his life.
Yeah, good
and the thing is, this is an opportunity for them to bond.
Well, you know what it is on the set? The kid loved Ronnie Cox, but the script. Sorry, I'm eating a pretzel. Giant pretzel that went down the wrong way.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Oh no, man!
Sorry. Wow. Anyway, so he loved Ronnie Cox on the script on the set, but the script called for him to hate Ronnie Cox and turn away like he's just done there. So they had to get Ned Beatty to come over because the kid hated Ned Beatty, and that was how he did it. So that's how they did it.
Wow.
Yeah,
great scene though.
Oh yeah,
marvelous scene.
Well, and that's it. You can tell they're doing a good job setting up. They obviously think they're better than everybody else in there. And a big thing about
there he is.
Oh, there you go. Big thing about the Southeast is it is a respect thing.
Yep.
If you come in, you're minding your own business. Most people are fine with you, and they'll leave you alone.
So quite frankly, that should be everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should always respect everybody all the time, and then you don't get, stripped and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Stripped and squealed.
Yeah. Don't disrespect folks. This is a life lesson, folks.
Oh wow, there it is.
I think it's I see this picture here as the handicapped child in the chair, and obviously there's no Medicare or medical care for these people. They're living completely on their own, by their own efforts out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah,
and that's the way they live.
It's kind of like ever seen the what was it, Loretta Lynn documentary, Coal Miner's Daughter?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that.
Mm-hmm. So these are the I think they're called the Driver Brothers, which is quite a convenient title. We've lost.
Oh no,
Tony.
Well, he's on the other side of the earth. He might have fallen off again.
I think the Australian government's decided to
quarantine him.
Quarantine him again.
You're not ill, but you're going in.
Put a mask on, Tony. Come back. We'll be waiting for you, buddy.
Maybe he just shut us off
there
because he got started to get into the movie.
There he comes. It could be.
Sorry, I got shut out by Robocop.
Yeah, I was going to say, we disrespected OCP. We're not down with OCP. You know me. And we're coming in. I've got 12 minutes and 9 seconds. How about you guys?
12:03.
I'm
Yeah.
at 12:14 now, but
Yeah, I'm about 12, 14, 15.
Okay.
Skip ahead of it. There we go.
So
please
just
tell me there's no special
debating.
editions on this.
No,
No, no.
no. Do you know what it is? Bowman was
14
asked to
extra
edit-
minutes of squealing.
Yeah,
The extended Ned Beatty scene.
the piggy cut,
Deliverance,
the
squealing
Three
edition.
mouth edition.
the bacon cut. But yeah, no. Bowman was asked to edit it, and he only took like something like 90 frames out or something, which is equivalent to like 4 seconds or something. So, but yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well within the time of the move well within the time of the movies for that time. I mean,
I got a question actually. Like this whole sequence was like, I'm going to pay you $40 to drive our cars down to the bottom of the river. Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of trust.
That's not only that, that's a lot of cash in 72.
True. Yeah. For 1972. Yeah. But the trust level of just, that they'll do it is impressive.
Well, don't forget around 1970s, in the 1970s, I mean, you had people not locking their doors at night.
True.
Yeah.
So, and and a lot of that stuff back then was a lot of these places, there's still everything was done with a handshake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
just disrespected him again.
Yep. Cut him off.
Yeah.
And this is where he goes off in a random direction, because the character, the character of Lewis Medlock, he's a survivalist, and he's a real jock of a character, but he's still from the city. He's still the city dweller's idea of what a survivalist should be like.
Exactly.
Well, we fucked up.
No,
this bit coming up here. Where are you going, city boy? It's fucking river in the state.
That's a perfect quote.
Yeah.
The car that they're driving, right, had a camera mounted at the front, as you can see. And they went over the biggest pothole in the world in just a second. And they thought the camera had come off, but it hadn't. So they started pissing themselves laughing. And that's actual them really, really pissing themselves laughing. It's not made up at all. It was actually just them. They couldn't stop laughing. So they just left it in the movie. It's because they thought the camera had come off. Because this movie was made like it was just risk. And one of the interesting things was, how he said earlier, was the character of Lewis, he doesn't have insurance. Where's the risk in that? And the other end of the scale, you've got Ned Beatty's character Bobby, who's actually an insurance salesman.
That's right.
So isn't it interesting? So, but the other thing is the actual film crew couldn't get insurance. The entire movie was shot with no insurance.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
which is completely
No
unheard
insurance.
of.
All right. This is a brilliant scene here where he jumps up onto the bank of the river there.
No insurance and no stash.
Yeah. And this quote, you've got to lose yourself.
Yeah,
Before
you
it's
find
a beautiful quote. And just the way Bowman was really good at doing these kind of shots, And that's exactly what happens to all four of them. All four of them lose something. I don't want to talk about what.
Yes, there are lots of snakes around.
Yeah, lots of snakes.
Snakes.
Freaking copperheads, rattlers,
water moccasins.
Yeah.
Copperheads and water moccasins were the big ones.
I've always wondered, I mean, obviously there's conservationists who are against this. Why doesn't everybody just get together and just get rid of all the rattlesnakes?
Oh, you'd never.
You
never, ever.
Never come back from Copperhead Road.
Yeah. Believe me, you'd never
Sorry.
find them all, and you'd never get rid of them.
Well,
no, I appreciated the joke. Sorry.
But
You
Oh,
didn't
I
mean to leave
love
you-
that song, man.
well, this is talking as a Brit, you see, where we,
Half
you know,
80 snakes.
Yeah, you had what?
yeah.
Patrick do that for you?
You need a St. Cuthbert, or a St. Patrick, yeah, St. Cuthbert and Patrick, one of them anyway.
Got rid of them from Ireland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but I mean, you can't compete with Tony. I mean, Tony lives in a country where everything tries to kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically,
Well,
Now-
you know.
the only out of all the deadly snakes, the one we don't have is the rattler. We've got all the others.
Yeah. Now in Michigan, we only have one venomous snake.
Look here.
Actually, we have two.
See
It's
them
called
three?
it's called the Mississauga, or sometimes called the wood rattler.
Mhm.
And the second most venomous snake is
I thought it was
our
going to be a
governor.
joke about the governor.
It was the governor. You didn't wait. You didn't
Sorry.
wait.
Now, I don't know whether you saw that, gentlemen. There was 3 men walking away. Even though they got a lift from 2 men, there was actually 3 men walking away.
Yeah.
And you might not have seen, but one of the 3 men they meet later on is the mountain man, because they're following, that one guy is following. And later on in the movie, the sheriff asks him, did you see this man? Oh, yes, there was a 3rd man. But you've just seen him through the trees there. And you're going to see him again. So,
Actually, I think starting out, I'd want to go upstream and then come back downstream. But what do I know?
Well, they're paying them to drive the trucks down the river.
Oh, down
so,
the river.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they should be.
It's a really
should be
nice
good.
location, though.
Oh
It's
yeah,
beautiful.
There's beautiful
I mean,
country down there.
They're gonna get all Ferris Bueller with those trucks.
Oh yeah.
Relax, I'm a professional.
well, they had to.
Speak English? What country do you think this is, man?
What country do you think this is, anyway? That guy, by the way, was I forget what rock group, but he was actually a musician.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But they had to tone down the colors, didn't they? They had to put
mute it.
desaturate the film and all sorts, because it looked too beautiful.
Well, that, and you've got that 70s. A lot of the stuff from the 70s has kind of that yellow. There's not as many blues in the film as there are now.
Yeah, the kind of thing that Instagram makes money out of.
Yes, yeah.
1970s
Really
film.
oversaturating the blues now.
I really love Boy Were Rafting. It was great.
Now
I have never done it.
Down in that area, they also
I did it in grade 12. It was brilliant.
down in that area they also have leeches.
Oh
great.
yes.
Big
Lovely.
time.
So we're seeing the banjo boy again. Did you know that the guy who plays one of the mountain men, Herbert Cowboy Coward, the toothless man, was a good friend of Burt Reynolds. Burt knew him from his work on Gunsmoke and things like that.
Oh.
And when they were wanting to get the roles filled for Mountain Men, Burt says, "Oh, well, I know a guy." So there you go. Beautiful, beautiful river. That.
It's just a gorgeous location.
Oh yeah.
So
And there's still places like that today.
Yep.
Which is
Lots
great
and
that
lots
there
of them.
is. Yeah.
I forget the rapids that they go through. I think they started. They end up at something which is now today called Deliverance Rock. It wasn't called Deliverance Rock then, of course, but now it's known as a. Oh, great! We've got some. We've made it, boys.
Bots?
We made it.
We've
Hey,
got,
there we go.
We've. How do I get rid of this?
Yeah, I put them in timeout.
Yeah, can somebody deal with that and get rid of them?
Hang on.
Yep.
So yeah, as I was saying,
It's been deleted yet.
is that gone now?
I'm
Yeah,
getting rid of them.
the message has been deleted.
So yeah, so the interesting thing about they've actually named some of the points in the river after the movie because there's a huge rock at the end of the journey down the river, which is now known as Deliverance Rock. But yeah, it wasn't just a turnaround movie for John Bowman and also for Burt Reynolds. It was actually a turnaround movie for John Voight as well, because he'd done a movie which was a flop, All American Boy. Sorry, not All American Boy. Actually, no, that came out in '73, but it was deemed unsalvageable. But because he'd done this movie in '72, his reputation was basically solid,
Bulletproof, yeah.
bulletproof based on this movie. Yeah. By the way, Burt Reynolds was going to do either this movie or be in The Godfather, which was in 1972 as well. But apparently, because he looks a lot like Brando, they were going to cast him as Brando's son. But apparently, Brando said, "If Burt Reynolds is in this movie, I'll quit."
That's harsh.
Well, exactly. It's Brando, isn't it? So, gentlemen, he was certainly. He was a fantastic actor, but he was a complete dick.
Sure, but he was an absolute horror.
I'm drinking Budweiser Budvar, which is the Czech version of Budweiser.
Budweiser,
Budvar. And
I can't stand Budweiser.
This isn't American Budweiser. This is the Czech one.
I even so. The American Budweiser gives me a freaking headache. I don't know why. Probably that Beechwood aging.
Try this one though, because this is the original Czech Pilsner. So the irony here is these four guys, right? Chubby is Ned Beatty. He's the only one who could canoe.
Yeah.
Because
the fat guy, he's the one who could canoe.
He was actually an experienced canoeist. The four of them spent a month in a country retreat hotel where they learned how to canoe and learned how to do archery and all that kind of stuff. And it was actually Dickie who taught them how to do archery, because he was a keen archer as well. And so that's where they got to bond with each other. We were saying before the show that because of these four guys having the chance to, apparently they didn't just talk about their own lives and get to know each other, because Bert and John sort of knew each other a little bit, but they started to get to know each other's characters as well. And they started to develop the ideas that the writer had, and they started to develop the idea that maybe this character knew this character, and it sort of comes across in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's always good when they can pull that off, when they can actually get to bond before the filming starts, because it just
you
makes
can always
it so much
tell,
more natural.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, as I said, the dialogue is so natural. And I said before, they don't look like they're acting. They look like they're just four friends just chatting and riffing.
So this is a scene where you get the personal philosophy of Lewis Medlock. Machines are going to fail. That's a bit like OneDrive.
Oh, absolutely.
Or Office 365. Then the system's going to fail.
That was an impressive bow, though.
Yes, it is. Very nice.
Oh, the pull top tabs on.
Oh, there you go.
I remember those. Yeah. The story was that they got rid of them because little mice were getting suffocated on them or something. I don't know. Or was that? Was that
using them to break and enter into houses?
That was.
The thing I always remembered about them was if you were pulling it and the tab broke, then
you were screwed.
You were screwed. No drink for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked out how to do it though. I just used a set of keys to push it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have to hammer it down, but then you get half a can of Coke would just go in your face.
Well, originally when they had, the beer and soda in cans, you'd have to use the pointy end of a can opener to open it up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that.
I don't know if you ever remember the old Pepsi ones, but they had two. You had to push like down on one little hole area, and that
Yeah,
unlocked
I remember
the second
that.
one. But you needed a knife. You couldn't do it with your fingers. But yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to keep your guitar prepped. Like,
Definitely. I just can't believe
Ronnie
it.
Cox,
Like,
professional guitarist.
This is it. But not only that, though, but when I saw this, it's a while since I've seen this movie, when I saw it again, I thought, shit, Ronnie Cox was the guy in RoboCop and Total
Recall.
Yeah.
And Beverly Hills Cop. And
yeah. And this is because so many times they're just taking the piss, aren't they, in the movies? But he is actually playing that guitar.
he looks really different, as I was saying before, with brown hair, because I've only really known him with grey hair.
Yeah.
And he looks radically different. Like, he looks younger. And yeah, and the
Well,
glasses.
I think that might be because he's younger.
There is that.
Oh, that could be.
Yeah.
But Burt Reynolds pretty much kept his age for most of his life. It was
All right.
True.
Ned. All right.
He
Ned
looks
Beatty.
wrong without the stash, though.
Ned Beatty tempted me.
So, surviving cast members. We know that, God rest his soul, Burt Reynolds died in 2018.
Yeah.
There's an interesting video where he bumps into, though, at what was it called? Oh, some festival for like down south. I forget what it's called now, but
the Down South Festival.
No.
Hillbilly Con.
Something like that. It was.
I can make that joke.
Pretty mouth con.
But anyway, he bumps into the guy. He bumps into a cowboy there for the last time, and that was just about like 2 months before he died. He met him again just before he died. But yeah, so he's. I mean, obviously, Ned Beatty died. Did Ned Beatty die last year?
Yeah, recently. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember we did a Superman.
There you go.
Superman movie watch. Because Ned Beatty died, who was, of course, the
Otis.
the fantastic Otis to Lex Luthor.
And he was
Mr.
frigging amazing in Homicide: Life on the Street as Detective Bolander.
And honestly, if it wasn't for this movie, he probably would never have made his break into movies.
He also was the dean of college in Rodney in a Rodney Dangerfield film.
Oh,
Back to School.
Back to School.
Back to School.
Yeah,
he was.
That was a great movie.
Yeah, he was.
Heard
Yeah,
about that.
Yeah.
All I can remember from that film was, but it was a really big check.
Hey, we're all going to get laid. Good old Rodney Dangerfield.
Hey, classic. But
No, he's like he was always one of those actors, not Rodney Dangerfield, but that regardless, whether he's the dean or whether he's a police detective or Otis, or you believe him.
Yeah.
Like, he just played with conviction.
Yeah, he has the ability to be very sincere with his emotions, doesn't he?
Well, the last thing I remember seeing him in, I think, as a main role was he was in Shooter. He was like an evil senator, with Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, and and he was really good. It was like, I just went, geez, I hope you get shot. You're such a prick. But yeah, if it's Ned Beatty, you go, oh, he's lovable Ned Beatty. No, he's a monster.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's it. When good actors can do that.
Yeah.
So
watching through this, I'm thinking Lewis is just a tiny tad bit overconfident in his abilities right now.
Yeah.
I know the type too.
The real hunter in all of this, the real hunter who has to come to the fore, is John Voight's character.
Yep.
He's the reluctant hero, and of the four. So you've got Ronnie Cox plays the idealist. Ned Beatty is like, I don't know. He's
arrogant.
He's arrogant and
clueless.
Yeah, totally detached from things.
Yeah, he thinks that his station in life makes him better than other people.
Yeah. He's got everything. He thinks he's got everything, and he's completely.
In the city, he's probably correct.
Yes, so in the city, you'd be completely invulnerable. But not here. This scene in the morning is so well lit. I mean,
it's beautiful.
They got. I mean, Bowman's ability to. Have you noticed how many films Bowman does have forests in them?
Yeah,
and this green light. I mean, obviously for me, the one that sticks out is Excalibur.
Yeah.
But he does this kind of stuff in Zardos as well.
Zardos.
Yeah. Codpiece, as I like to call it.
Best codpiece movie ever.
I can remember my dad doing this, stringing his recurve bow. You got to bend it, get the string on it.
I've never really done archery, so I'd be absolutely useless.
It's really good.
Just give me my 308, I'll be fine. But
yeah,
there you go.
That as well. Give me my trusty potato peeler, and I'll be fine. But this scene here is clearly showing that he can do it, but he just doesn't want to kill anything.
He lacks confidence.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to kill anything, and he has this, and obviously this is this is a tell for later on in the movie. Because
the cinematography of this, like the camera setups, are brilliant. Like him just walking through the forest and that.
Yeah, and the angle, with the light straight down on top of him.
It's so good.
It's slightly above
coming off his glowing hair.
Yep.
Well coiffed, glowing hair.
Yeah, yes. That's right. The deer. The deer.
Yeah, that
Jenny.
So John Voight is a surviving cast member, and Ronnie Cox is a surviving cast member of the four. Obviously, Bert and Ned have passed away. Bill McKenney's died a few years back, as we were saying earlier. If you wanted to know, Bill McKenney's squeallikeapig.com was his his internet address for his website. It's up for purchase if you're interested. And here we go. You see, this is the.
For Christ's sakes, take the buck. For God's sakes.
Yeah, it's like
and he misses.
You're not going to be able to hold that indefinitely.
Yeah.
10 yards away. I mean, come on, man. That's approximately 9.7 meters for the rest of the world.
If this was a Leslie Nielsen movie, someone would have fallen over dead like further down.
Yeah.
Do you know what's weird? Right? In Britain, right, we do have to use centimeters instead of inches.
Yeah,
but it's like a mixture of the two. So people will usually refer to yards rather than meters, but they'll say centimeters rather than inches when they're having to measure something. But then it's all the EU's fault, you see.
Oh, everything's the EU's fault.
But yeah, so I don't know whether Herbert Cowboy Coward is still alive. He might still be. Who knows? Yeah. Let's see. Let's see if we. Here we go. It was. I've got it here. He met him at Bubba Fest.
Fest.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Bubba Fest. Yeah.
Bubba Fest. Is that in? Wait a minute. Is that in Knoxville, Tennessee?
It's down south somewhere. Don't know, but for all things Southern, I'm a salesman, Ed.
It says that it doesn't say he's dead, Herbert.
No. Yeah, so. You can tell Ned was the perfect choice for the pinky purple bear in Toy Story 3.
Yeah, oh yeah, he nailed that.
Oh yeah.
It was another like absolute scumbag character.
So the movie was principally shot in Rabun County, northeastern Georgia. Canoe scenes were filmed in the Tallulah Gorge, which is southeast of Clayton. on the Chattooga River. The river divides the northeastern corner of Georgia from the southwestern corner of South Carolina. Additional scenes
We do things differently down here.
You've got to say Carolina without any consonants. It's got to be.
Oh yeah.
You're allowed to see. It's got to be Carolina.
Got to stretch the vowels.
It's all about vowels.
Can I have a little bit of sweet tea there, dear?
Oh, sweet
Why,
tea.
yes,
now
thank
you're
you.
talking.
Thank you,
Now you're
Mario.
Bless your heart.
My kid, bless your heart. My kid, we used to go down to Myrtle Beach, and so when the kids grew up, we'd they would go out to dinner with us and all that. We introduced my son to sweet tea.
Oh,
oh my God!
I'm just giving you a warning, gentlemen. The scene is coming up.
I can't find it. I think it's in Florida. I think I was thinking of a different one.
What, for Bubba
Yeah.
That's a great name, though.
Yeah, it is a fantastic name.
So good.
So he sees them through the woods, through the trees, first of all. And Bowman's being quite clear about this. He views these two guys as vengeful spirits of the forest. So without saying too much, the man has raped nature.
Yeah.
So it's like the land itself is getting its own back.
Well, that's been a common theme in literature throughout the years. Man versus nature. Nature always wins.
You see how naive as well.
Yeah, going in to talk to them.
Ned's character, yeah. And this is so good. The guy that chose for this role is perfect. I mean, look at him. He's like a crazy Scotsman. He's like...
his swagger. The way he's standing in that, you're like, oh, shit.
Well. McKinney, I mean, he's you look at him, he's like a typical. You go to Glasgow on a Saturday night, that's what.
Of course, if it was Scotsman, be.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you go deep enough into the mountains, you can't understand what they say either.
No, that's true.
You're done taking a wrong turn.
I used to have to.
River don't go anywhere near Aintree, and it says look between the two of them there.
The other thing I find is interesting is the fact that Toothless Man just completely turns his back on Ned Beatty. He's got no fear.
Oh yeah,
like he's not intimidated at all. It's like I've got a rifle or a shotgun, sure, but I just. I'm not going to turn. I wouldn't turn my back on anyone.
And that's the most shocking thing is when he does that and just smooths his hand across his face.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like you're my meat, basically.
Yeah, you're marked.
You're mine. And then they make the worst mistake of saying you're making whiskey. So he's giving them a chance to. What are you talking about? Say something about whiskey.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that sets off alarm bells pretty quick. You run across the still in the woods, you just get out of there real fast.
You revenuer.
It probably offended him too by saying, "Oh, we'll buy some."
Oh yeah, I mean that's a very cop thing to do.
He was picked as well because a lot of this was. I mean, obviously Ned Beatty and McKinney were practiced, well, not practiced, so to speak. They rehearsed this scene. They just wanted to get it out of the way, really. But it's weird when you watch it and you know that obviously that neither of them want to do it. It's just like a scene they're having to do. But you can see that giving each other directions all the time. And you can see them doing that, like to get them through the scene.
I just imagine Ned Beatty reading the script for the first time and going, "You want me to do what?"
So I've got to do this to get into the movies.
Immediately on the horn to his agent.
Yeah. What do you mean I can't get out of this contract?
And of course,
this isn't part of the casting couch, is it?
And of course, this guy Cowboy does a bit of stuttering now and then. I'm just gonna, you just stand up there beside this sapling here, and then that all adds to the authenticity of the character. Drop those panties.
That's where you just say, just shoot me.
Incredibly long shotgun.
I'll take the fistful of buckshot, please.
Can I say the word Bugger?
I don't think anybody in San Francisco understands what that means.
Yep.
Well,
So yeah,
it's an English word. You'd probably
but
the
it's
dead
not.
body.
It's not American.
No, it'll be picked up by the censors somewhere.
Yeah. Just say this.
That little old baby shirt there too.
That's ridiculously intimidating with the knife. That's like,
Yeah.
I'm probably more scared of more scared of that knife than I am of that shotgun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then the way he refers to his wife fronts his panties.
Yeah,
Jeff's gone quiet at this point. Jeff, you still with us, mate?
Yeah, I'm still there.
And then he runs off into the woods like a little piggy. This is the worst bit of the whole movie. It was like, ooh.
Yeah,
Man,
no.
I'm sorry. What?
Oh man, that's got to put leaves up the butt crack.
Clawing his flesh.
Oh yeah.
Oh good. You look like a hog. Come on, Piggy. Shit. Give me a ride, Piggy. Oh dear God.
All right. That is. Yeah, I'm officially.
Well, thanks
feeling
for watching
awkward.
Movie Watch Live,
Yeah,
and we're going to cut this one short.
Yeah, all the hosts have suddenly left.
But I mean, John Bowman said that, and he's a bit of a weird. Obviously, we know John Bowman's a very weird person, and he said, "Well, we've seen women getting raped in movies over and over again, so it's
time for a guy." Equal opportunities.
Doesn't mean I want to see women get raped at all. It's like, come on, guys.
Well, this is it. I think his rationale was, it's shocking, but why is it?
Squeeze!
Louder. Come on, boy. You know what it reminds me of? It's like one of those auctioneers. Here, right about it. Three squeals from the top.
Here we go.
Yeah, this is uncomfortable.
There's just no words for it, really.
He actually did cut. He did cut Voight. Didn't notice that before.
Yep. And I mean, at first, there's no question about it. It's one of the most disturbing scenes in cinema. I'm sorry, lads, you're not want to be my friend after this. Thanks for watching Movie Watch, the home of quality entertainment.
Yeah, and Voight's
nice,
just
wholesome
stuck there.
family film.
I mean, it shows that the idea was that, I think, to really get the point across about how bad rape is, maybe seeing a man being raped really gets it, because sometimes, I don't know, we've grown so accustomed to female rape scenes in movies. It's a horrible thing, but I mean, maybe this gives it a new
rape is a
gravitas,
fucking terrible thing.
It's an awful thing, but I mean, maybe this gets the point across that it is seeing a man being raped by another man shows you just how bad it is. I mean, it's bad, but I don't know. It's.
Yeah, I think you raised a good point, because a lot of the times that's used as a vehicle to introduce nudity in movies.
Yeah.
And this definitely makes the men think about how horrifying it actually is.
Yep. And now they're just about to say about John's purty mouth. He got a little purty mouth, ain't he? And then that's a really good shot by Bowman there, where he closes up on on
Big
Bert,
Ray
who's
Good.
in the woods there, just silent like that, just waiting for the chance. Soon
Yeah.
as the shotgun's handed over to him, that's when the shot's going off. Bang! Look at that, straight through his chest. And John grabs the shotgun.
Yeah, I mean that, and dead silent. You know, it's
And the
all
mistake they made there is they should have just shot him there and then.
yeah,
I would have let off
exactly.
both barrels at him straight away.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Now Jellicoe goes in for his turn.
That's it.
And this scene, I don't
It's
know.
all Riker's fault.
Damn,
I haven't
Riker.
seen any explanation about the length of this scene, but and where the guy's pointing to. He's pointing or reaching for something in the distance as he dies. But there's never been an explanation about it. But the length of the scene was supposed to really make you think about how horrifying death is. And when you kill somebody, it's not like in the movies where they just fall
Keel
over
and die.
Yeah,
that's
Oh no.
yeah,
that would be horrifying.
it's agonizing, and watching somebody die that you've just killed, and it's going to take them 5 minutes to die, you know?
well, and that's it. Unfortunately, most people think it's neat and clean like in the movies, and people don't
not.
want to die. They fight to live. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
You shot me.
And there's a last little nerve twitch there. Now, this is one of the best dying scenes ever because this guy just lies there, and this was all done in one take. This is all done in one take. He lies there on the branch, pretend to be dead for 5 minutes. Actually, I think it's more like 8 minutes. And I think the cameraman said to him afterwards, "How the hell did you manage that? Do you realize we've just been shooting the whole scene for like 8 minutes?" And he says, "Yeah, I just picked my spot and just focused on that one spot." So, I mean, all taken in one shot. The movie, actually, apart from the banjo scene, which was the first scene that they did, the movie was done in sequence as well, which was really good for the actors because as they did each scene,
Kept continuity.
Yeah, they had the continuity to relate to each scene. So this is the moral debate going on, and Ronnie Cox's character Drew is the moral voice, trying to bring them back into civilization, but they're out in the middle of nowhere. There's no law, there's no civilization, and what do they do about it? Because you know.
And I mean, you know, to be fair, if they went through and tried to take him in and turn him into whatever sheriff, highway patrol, whatever they decided on, you know, loading up a dead man and canoeing him down the river isn't it's not a great option.
You know, another really good thing about the authenticity in this film is that most of the extras, in fact, almost all of them, were real residents of the local towns and villages.
Wow.
So the only cast is the main cast.
Well, and if you listen to the accents, you know, Reynolds, Voight, the other guys are doing like a more traditional genteel Southern accent, which they're from Atlanta, according to the screenplay and the movie, whereas the other guys are in the mountains, and that is the Appalachia accent, period.
Yep.
I tell you,
I
from
love it, man. I
experience.
think it's a great accent. Like, I caught a fish the other day. It must have been 12 feet long.
That's it, exactly. You stretch your valves. You got to go through more of a nasal tone. And
you spend most of it. I was trying to tell a story the other day. Took me 3 hours because of all the vowels.
That's right.
Well, Southerners tend to talk much slower than
than
Northerners.
Well, and
I sort of take their time.
I've got a theory about that.
Because they're not much of a hurry.
Yeah, well, that's true too.
That's true. Yeah, that's
we talk
true.
quicker because it's so fucking cold. You don't want to be outside talking very long. It's like, hi, how you doing? Yeah, it's fucking cold. How you doing? We'll meet at 12. Bye. See you later.
Yeah, exactly. Got to get out of this.
This is one of your fucking games, and that's as close as he gets to his other characters, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it just shows you the way you can just turn it on. He psyched him. He said in one of the documentaries, Ronnie Cox said he really psyched himself up because this was his scene. For his character, this was his big scene. And so he went for a run to like tire himself out and get sort of like get himself all aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where the Weekend at Bernie's segment comes in.
Yeah. Just tie him up, leg to leg, arm to arm, head into the gas station.
Hey, man. Weekend at Biden's.
Yeah.
Shit.
Again.
The zombie apocalypse is here.
Tell you, this is a good thing he says here. What he did at Bobby?
Bobby?
And
hey, Bobby. They were just trying to sell you some propane and
they
propane
are
accessories.
They are correct though, because if there was a trial, they'd be screwed completely.
No, it's possibly justifiable because I mean,
1972.
They had a gun and
they had a gun.
There's a certain rapey incident going on.
Yeah, they did the big R, and they were about to do the big R again, and chances are good that they would have plugged them. Reasonable fear of great bodily injury or death.
They were in fear of their lives.
Yeah, jury. You could probably convince a jury of that.
I think
in Australia they'd be screwed.
Yeah, I think they're probably thinking more along the lines of their reputations and what it'll do to their reputations.
Exactly, because you go back to Atlanta and you have to admit, well, this happened to me, because it would be in the papers, But, yeah, okay. So Lewis, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say that he's the moral voice and saying that they should follow the law, and because this doesn't go the way he thinks it should go, he becomes really distraught about it, and obviously that has a end result in the next 10 minutes.
The thing is the whole premise of this is actually off. Because these guys were running in illegal still. They most likely have killed revenuers in their life. And they ain't going to be going to the law for nothing.
Oh, no.
So this whole premise is actually off. But they don't know that.
Right. Exactly. They don't. They think everything operates like it does back in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I was going to point out, this is Lewis, his survivalist.
Yeah.
Coming out, he thinks this is his moment to shine. This is everything he's lived for his whole life. So, yeah, it's interesting turns.
By the way, John Voight's stunt double for this movie, Claude Terry, purchased all the equipment used in the movie from Warner's, and he founded what's now the oldest whitewater rafting adventure company on the Chattooga River.
Oh,
Southeastern Expeditions. So he basically said, this is going to be cool if people do whitewater rafting. And there you go.
Well, and I was going to say, back in the 90s when they had the Olympics in Atlanta and they had the whitewater rafting in Georgia, there were quite a few Deliverance jokes going around the area. So Ned Beatty couldn't make it down that river.
But yeah, the cast wasn't insured. Nobody was insured. The actors weren't insured. The actors also did their own stunts. And you're going to see something later on in the movie where Burt Reynolds hurt his coccyx. His coccyx literally snapped off.
I didn't break mine, but I did. I had mine doing whitewater rafting as well. I got thrown out of the raft.
And went down. I knew a girl that did that where she broke her tailbone. And she was pretty much out of it. I wouldn't say out of action, but she was sitting on. inner tubes for like well over a year.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Yeah, I've heard that
I
is a
clipped it.
terrible
I
bone.
didn't break it, but it hurt. It really hurt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So here
Plus,
we
going
are.
down the river without a raft hurt.
Shit.
But I did get
Timestamp-
rescued by a raft full of young, very
Ooh,
pretty
that sounds.
lasses from
That
New
sounds.
Zealand.
That
there you
So
sounds
that was
that was
good.
all worth it then. It was worth
Yeah.
it.
My pain was worth it.
I broke my
50
butt. Can you take care of me?
Yeah, soothe my ass.
Yeah, choice, bro.
57 minutes and 35 seconds.
Thank you. Yes.
This bit here shows how we've descended into this kind of reality now, and Ned's character is basically not Ned's character. I beg your pardon, Ronnie Cox's character. The way he becomes so feverish and the way he digs into the ground like an ape. He could have actually auditioned for one of the parts of Planet of the Apes with that kind of performance. But he's just indicates that they've descended to this level now,
Yeah. Ned Beatty is kind of weak from post whatever.
That's easy for you to say.
John Voight's name.
I just don't even want to. Ned Beatty's character is just thinking.
He's just walking around going, anybody else craving a cigarette? Is it just me?
Maybe some cold pizza.
I don't even want to think about it. I do not even want to think about it. It's so bad, so bad. Anyway, so here they are, shallow grave. It's already filling it with mud because of the water level.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say they're also very lucky because normally that soil is rocky as crap, so that would hurt.
Well, he found.
He's got the knife.
Bowman found like a glade on the side of the river, which was perfect with its bleached colors because everything was just these, browned leaves, and it looked so sterile, and that's why he picked that area.
Very good job on the actor's part getting buried because shoving a mouthful of dirt in your mouth or a handful of dirt in your mouth.
Oh yeah, he did really well. And there's the arm sticking up there. It reminds me of that scene from
Just put some moss over it, it'll be okay.
Remember the scene from Young Frankenstein?
Oh yes.
The side of the thing. Cold tonight.
Run on the Reds.
Run on the Reds.
So there you go. So they're buried in there, and they're totally committed to it now.
Yeah,
come
they're
back
all
as
in.
Joe Biden.
Listen here, fat.
Come on, Chubby. So the race back to the boats. They just want to get out of there now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Come on, Lewis.
Come on,
Plan.
Lewis.
It's the plan, Ed.
Unless, I don't know, the guys who drove your cars down there were relatives of them.
James Dickey was pestered the life out of all of these actors all the time, by the way, because he actually called them by their characters' names.
All right.
There was one time he came up and pestered Burt Reynolds in the evening when he was with a girlfriend, and he kept shouting. He kept shouting over to him constantly all night. Lewis! And he came over. And I mean, he's about 6'4". The guy was about 6'4". He was huge. And you can see he's a big fella. You're going to see him later on as a sheriff. And Bert literally turned around to him and said, "I'm not Lewis, but I will be Lewis at 6 o'clock in the morning. Talk to me then." And he goes, "But Lewis." He says, "Look, I'm not Lewis, but I will be. Until then, get your goddamn out of my face." And the guy respected him. He respected him, but he was a drinker. I mean, James Dickey was a drinker, and he did actually have a fight with John Bowman on the set. Broke his nose and shattered 4 of his teeth.
Jeez.
Wow.
So this is a bit where Drew's just they told Drew to jump out of the boat. And we don't know whether he's shot or not, or whether
I've always found that weird. Like what happened to Drew?
Yeah, well, I think maybe it symbolizes his conscious dying because they've done this.
Yeah, he commits suicide.
like he
in the book he's shot.
Yeah.
But in the film here, they just leave it up to your own, for you to decide what happened. But because of him doing
you can't hear a gunshot.
No, because of that though, everybody else, capsizes their boats are knackered and of course Burt Reynolds' legs poking out of his. This is where he hits.
Yeah.
This is where he wrecks his coccyx, going right down there. Because
God, you make it sound so dirty.
The stuntman wouldn't do it, right? The stuntman refused to do it, and Burt said, "I'll do it," because they had a dummy. And they sent a dummy down. They had this sluice gate, right? They could open the sluice gate and make all the water go down. And so Bert said, "That looks shit. I'll do it for you." So he did it, broke his coccyx, and then they watched it on the projection machine afterwards. And he said to Bowman, "What do you think? What does it look like?" And Bowman said to him, "It looks like a dummy going down."
Yeah, you got the shot,
So, but yeah, I mean, apparently all four actors were a little bit of a handful in terms of being like, they were just jokers, all four of them were quite funny guys and joking with each other all the time. So Bowman's quite like that as well. So they just used to take the piss out of each other all the time. So,
yep, there go all the supplies.
Vilmos Sigismund, the director of photography on this movie, Bowman knew this whole movie was going to be a real grueling movie to shoot because all they had was they were risking their life all the time, no insurance, having to do their own stunts, filming everything from boats on the rivers. So they thought, we need somebody who's going to be able to cope with this. So Bowman picked a guy for the cinematography who filmed the 1956 Soviet invasion of Hungary. So that's pretty much a decent qualification. You can film the Russians invading your country.
Yeah, that's a nice compound fracture. Oof.
Yeah,
by the way,
right out of the skin.
That makes you feel sick, and everybody was like, "Oh fuck!" But
oh yeah,
do you know what they did? Do you know what he did? It was so straightforward. He got a lamb bone, right, and snapped it in half and shoved it down his pants, poking out the side of his pants.
Simple but effective.
Simple but effective. He said in an interview, everybody looked at it was like, "Oh," and he said it was diabolique.
Yeah,
I'm sure it wasn't the only thing that Burt Reynolds had shoved down his pants before he.
Well, yeah, it's true.
Before the 70s were over.
True.
No sign of Drew anywhere.
You see the multiple angles going further and further out. A lot of the direction that we're watching here, and we're just taking it for granted, was a first at that time. You know how he shouts, and every time he shouts, you're getting further and further out?
Yeah.
But we are taking that for granted. That was like a first at the time. Because these movies were just copied and copied and copied.
Oh yeah. Well, and
there's his guitar.
Yeah,
and pulling in the close-ups where you can get the emotional impact from them. Yeah, it's well shot, well done.
Oh, it's incredibly well shot. Yeah.
Yes, I think Ned Beatty did a fantastic job. His film debut. And you wouldn't even think he hadn't done another movie, would you? He's so good at...
He'd eventually become like an icon. I mean,
Oh,
how many
absolutely.
freaking movies the guy was in?
But this role would obviously haunt him for the rest of his life, actually. Donald Sutherland was originally going to play the role of John Voight's character. That wouldn't have worked, really, I don't think.
Yeah, Donald Sutherland would have liked it.
It would have been too overpowering, wouldn't he? Because Donald Sutherland was quite a character, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, and you know, just not to disparage Ned Beatty. I mean, he's obviously not an athlete. He's not athletic. He's just a pudgy guy, and he fits the role really well as a victim in that case.
Yep.
So yeah, and you're right, Donald Sutherland. I can't imagine him going through that performance and it being as believable and impactful.
And the thing is, not disparaging Ned Beatty at all, but he looks like a normal guy.
Right, exactly.
He's not buff. He's not cut. He's just a normal guy, and it's like
the other thing too is Donald Sutherland's a tall guy, if I remember.
Yes.
Very
correctly.
tall. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I don't see that happening at all.
Well, and I think Tony hit on it. Because he's just an average guy. It's easy to put yourself in his shoes and go
I think
through
they should
what he's
cast
going
more
through.
things like that, where it's like they don't have to be beautiful people; they should just look normal.
Exactly. Yeah. Time check. Just because we haven't done one in a while,
Yeah.
I'm at 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 40 seconds.
Same here.
Yep, spot on.
And
There's
that bone is really just disturbing.
oh, it is. It's so disturbing.
It's incredible how
Compound
it's
fractures really messed me up.
so easily done, though. It's just the fact that all they did was take a lamb bone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the controversy around the film. Sam Peckinpah was originally going to direct the movie.
Wow, that'd have been interesting.
Henry Fonda, Jack Nicholson were also linked to the project. Jack Nicholson was going to be playing Burt Reynolds' character.
Oh.
Gene Hackman, Lee Marvin, Marlon Brando,
God.
even
Yeah,
Charlton
talk about heavy
Heston,
hitters.
Robert Redford.
Yeah, none of those guys would have done it right.
No.
None of them.
No. So
it
this
would have been too much ego and stuff.
Yeah.
So he has the dark matte filter, which is the only sort of.
Oh, you can see it on the water. It looks really fake on the water.
If you're a Red Letter Media fan, this is day for night.
Yeah.
But you know, I understand it's the limits. They had to work with what they had to work with.
You couldn't like that.
But the fact that to criticize for that is unfair as well because
it's
this John Voight did this himself. I mean, he had a guide rope,
Exactly.
okay, but he climbed this cliff and they filmed him doing it. I mean, the cameraman was on a rope as well, right beside him. 3 or 4 people abseiled up the side of this cliff. This scene's great as well, and this is how you can't replicate this, right? Can you see his watch is all clouded? It's clouded because it's got wet from him being in the river.
Yeah.
Now, that's little touches like that you wouldn't get because it was filmed in sequence on location. So that's a little touch there that his watch is all misted up with the water.
And that's what you miss when you do a movie and it's all green screens now.
Yeah. So this is his wife and kid. And this is the moment of truth for him because
the wallet. Yeah.
He loses his wallet. And then it's like a moment where he's thinking, right, are you going to man up or not, basically? The moment to man up. And of course, if he doesn't get out of this, who's going to look after his wife and kid?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the other guys are depending on him as well.
Exactly.
Because right now they've decided Drew was shot, and Voight knows, okay, he's going to come and get us. He knows where we're at. So if I don't get up here and do something, he'll just pick us off.
That's it. He's pinned them down now. So this is the bit where Voight becomes the hero. He becomes the reluctant hero, but he finds it within himself. And was talking to Tony before the show and thinking, if you weigh all of this film up, it's more than just city slickers that go out into the outskirts, go into the bush and that. It's about man coming back into contact with savage nature, but it's also coming back into contact with savage man, and what you have to, and how you have to become hard to survive that, and
Yes.
the horror that man resorts to when they become savage, but also
They have to break
the
through to the other side of it.
yeah,
Too,
exactly.
And
This is it. This is it. The act of will to break through to the other side, to quote Jim Morrison.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going there, and you ruined it.
And so he does, and he breaks through to the other side, in order to recapture what he's got left.
His humanity.
And, yeah. And if anybody hasn't read Heart of Darkness, which is what Apocalypse
Really
Now
worth
is based on, it's so worth it. It's a novel. It's a novella. It won't take you long to read it. The horror.
Yeah, I was watching a lot of the. I've been watching a lot of the behind the scenes footage or behind the scenes explanations of Apocalypse Now. That's really interesting. Really,
it is very fascinating. I'm not even a fan of the film, but the making of the film is fascinating.
Yeah.
Come on, Bubby.
Yeah, and now
and this scene is fantastic because he's trying to stay awake, and of course he does eventually fall asleep.
Yeah, I mean, when you climb up, however many hundreds of feet the cliff was, you're exhausted.
It wasn't exactly an easy climb.
Yeah,
it's nighttime and the birds are singing nicely, and it's like, I could just go to sleep here. But the way this is done perfectly, where the architecture of this rock, that's the perfect shape from lie like that, and then just above his neck,
looks
ironically,
just
but the symbolism of him just appearing above his neck, like that, and then he shrinks back against the face of the rock so quickly, and it sparks into life again, and then there he is there, peering over the guy. Now in the book, it's not clear if this guy is the same guy. They're made to think, because I won't say too much, but they're made to think that they're never sure who this guy was, without saying too much. But here we go again. Can he shoot this time? Can he actually loose the arrow?
Yeah, come on, Hawkeye.
Credited as Backwoods Dude number 3.
This is Toothless Man, this guy. But here we go again, you see?
Yeah, right back to where he was with the deer.
Take the shot.
Yeah. Release. And that's a perfect angle there, looking down the shaft of the arrow as well.
Yeah, that's a great shot.
Really brings you total immersion, that, you see, immersive. And then he shoots. But as he shoots him. Now, the way that it does that, it's trying to fool you, because you're thinking, has he just like loosed the arrow and fallen on his own arrow? Because he's impaled on his own arrow. What happened to his arrow?
Yeah, exactly.
Has he just like fluffed the whole thing? Did he lose his arrow? Or did he fall on his own arrow? And the guy's coming straight for him, so he's screwed. He's having to pull that right through.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun.
That would be so painful.
Yeah, just needs to get some gunpowder to seal that wound up, just like Rainbow.
But yeah, exactly. So even now, there's no chance he would survive a gunshot, but he's still drawing his knife.
Oh yeah, he's going down fighting.
That's a different shotgun too.
Yeah.
Well, they nicked his other one, didn't they?
Yeah, that's an actual.
That's a lever action.
Yeah, that's a rifle.
Yeah, it's a lever action.
My trusty Sharps rifle.
And there you go. So the arrow's gone straight through his neck.
That is a nice knife. That is a really nice knife.
That is.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Acquired from the War of Northern Aggression.
You play knifey spoony.
But that's the thing. Basically, it's a really nice knife. But look at the blade, brand new,
shiny. Yeah.
And he says no because he thinks, "Oh shit, who is this guy I've shot?"
Yes.
And he thinks
He
he's
did
Yes.
shoot at him, so it's a fair.
Yeah, exactly. It's
All bets
but
are off.
but
And he
to be
realizes,
fair,
but
he's the guy looks over and sees a guy with
With a bow and arrow,
with a
yeah.
bow and arrow
yeah,
ready to loose on him.
there you go. So it is the same guy too. So now they give you that in the movie. In the book,
Yeah, he's got the.
in the book, that his face gets
He's got
damaged
dentures.
as he pushes him down the rock. So in the book, the characters don't know if they've actually killed the right person.
Should have got his wallet, checked his ID.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go. So we're now at 1 hour 18 coming up to.
Yep.
And did you know, by the way, that although
That's
this movie
a nice
is really
shot.
famous, it is a beautiful shot. That isn't
It
it?
is gorgeous.
I mean, look at the rocks around there. That's so gorgeous.
The topography is just beautiful.
It is. It reminds me of the
Like
Blue
nothing,
Mountains.
nothing else looks like it.
Nah.
Don't throw that
I was
rifle away.
I was thinking a little
Yeah.
bit like the Blue Mountains in New South Wales. A little bit.
That's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
Guessing from the folks that I knew that had
Broken.
rifles like that, I'm guessing it's just a 30-30. But
Yeah. Carbine, you mean?
well, no, it's a
No.
lever action.
Lever
30.
Oh, lever action.
rifle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So in the book, he lowers the guy down early in the morning when it's still too dark, and he hits his face off the side of the rock so they can't recognize him and they don't know who it is.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, it's also this movie is really famous, obviously, for dueling banjos. The guy who wrote Dueling Banjos sued Warner Brothers for using the track without his permission. Basically, John Bowman was in a huge, long copyright wrangle
Strike.
with this, because the guy who, Eric Weisberg and Steve Mandel did the version of the song that you hear in the movie, Dueling Banjos, an international hit, hit number 2 on the Billboard. But Weisberg had pinched or stolen the track from a South Carolina musician called Arthur Guitar Boogie Smith and failed to credit him.
What a great name.
Yep. My name's Arthur Guitar Boogie Smith, and you done stolen my song, you asshole.
Look here, boy. That's my song.
Yeah,
Failed to
now,
credit him.
yeah, now if you know anybody with a banjo that plays bluegrass, they know that song.
That's it. And but yeah, Smith sued and won, and was awarded a share of the profits of the song. Credits to the film were amended. They had to amend the credits to show it was originally written by Arthur Guitar Boogie Smith.
I'm surprised Harlan Ellison didn't try getting on that. He loves suing people for stealing his writing.
Did you know though? And John Bowman actually wrote a story about this and wanted to do a movie out of making this movie because the gold record that he got for dueling banjos, right, was stolen by an Irish thief called Martin Cahill. Actually, he did make a movie out of it. He made a movie out of the fact that someone stole his gold record version of dueling banjos.
Oh wow! You imagine going? Sorry,
Martin Cahill. He was a Dublin criminal known as the General.
The General. Yes,
the General. He's done a series of burglaries. Made $2 million worth in jewelry heist in 1983, and a major art heist. And he went around nicking really important stuff. But yeah, so
Ned Beatty here having a hard time sitting down.
yeah. Could you imagine going through all of that and then having the rope break, fall, and then wondering, okay,
who it was?
am I gonna get through this?
Yeah. I like that though. I like the whole way that the uncertainty factor all the time. They're out in the middle of nowhere, and everything is playing with perception all the time, isn't it? By the way, Tony, and we were talking about this before the show, Burt Reynolds thinks that, or believed that it was his nude centerfold in Cosmopolitan that cost the movie Best Picture Oscar.
Oh, right. Okay,
Actually, I don't think that was Cosmopolitan. I think that was Playgirl.
Playgirl, yeah.
I could be wrong.
So there we go. The Kahaluwasi River was based on the Kusawati River, dammed in the 70s, contained several dangerous whitewater rapids before being flooded by Carter's Lake.
Yeah. That was the downside to damming things up, is there's a lot of old farmland, homes,
Lost.
churches and stuff that are now hundreds of feet underwater.
Yeah, that's sad.
And the reason why James Dickey punched John Bowman was because, as Burt Reynolds described him, James Dickey was a guy who, when he'd had a couple of martinis, you would want to drop a grenade down his throat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the movie to me is obviously about survival. This is where they find Ned. And do you know, by the way, can you look at what's happened to his body there? You tell me how they got that special effect.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
You tell me how they got it to look like that.
I hope you don't mind if we dislocate your shoulder there.
Yes.
Ned?
Do you want to know how?
How?
He can do that because he's
arm.
double jointed. He can dislocate his own arm.
Oof.
That looks so painful.
And that he can just do that, no problem.
So that explains why he had really long arms at the end of RoboCop when he fell.
Yeah, that does. It explains so much.
You can dislocate them and make them look really long.
He can pop them out. So all they did was to put a little bit of makeup under his armpit shoulder to emphasize the fact that his arm looks like it's completely popped out. But that's all he did. He just put his arm, he's double jointed.
God.
Ronnie Cox is a man of infinite talent.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you kind of wonder if where that came up in the casting process.
Excuse me. Do you have double joints?
Yeah.
There's Deliverance Rock. Look at that. Amazing, isn't it?
He might have just said,
absolutely.
I can do this. And they went, oh, that's a good idea.
That's it exactly, because Bowman encouraged his actors to suggest stuff all the time. What if I do this? What if I do that? So this is where they weight him down as well. So they got to weight him down as well. So it's like 3 bodies they've left behind. So if you think about all 4 characters, it's suggested that Lewis is going to lose his leg. In the book, he doesn't lose his leg. He has a limp, though.
I think they said he might lose his leg.
Yeah, so he probably doesn't lose his leg, but he has a limp, and he's sort of not as fit as he used to be.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ned
I'll
Beatty's
still be able
character,
to drive a Trans Am, though.
Yeah.
There you go.
And Ned Beatty's character, we know what he lost. And John Voight's character has lost his ability to be innocent and detached from everything because he's actually had to become the killer. He's had to become a killer to kill the other guys. And of course, as they say, he was the best of us. Drew paid the ultimate price and lost his life.
Gently underneath this, you've got dueling banjos going again.
That's it. As a send-off for Drew.
Poor Drew.
So long, Drew.
I don't get why they put him in the river.
No, neither do I.
Because they said that if he was shot, forensics might be able to find something, and then it would stir up an investigation.
Yeah, it would blow their whole story.
So it's easier for them to just say he was lost as well. And again, that feeds back into stories like Heart of Darkness, isn't it? Yeah. It's about the horror that they've gone through has to be left behind, because otherwise it'll follow them. But then the irony is, right at the as people have seen this movie before, know the horror will follow them no matter what they're trying to do.
Yeah. They'll never forget.
No, here we go. Beautiful country. This absolutely beautiful.
Oh,
Honestly,
yeah.
there's so many beautiful places in the States.
Try to steer away from the rocks, please.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
suppose there's a lot more of these kind of places in the South because the North is much more heavily industrialized, isn't it?
How's your leg there?
Yeah, when you start getting away from the East Coast, it becomes more wild. Matter of fact, we had some guy who was he was a Brit as well, and he was over kind of seeing the software team, and they had this specialized company that made specialized parts. We took him to it, and had to explain to him that most of Michigan is like this. It's all rural and
Really?
and oh yeah,
yeah.
most of Michigan is not.
Because when I
cities,
think
it's
of
mostly
Michigan,
rural.
I think of like, is Chicago in Michigan or is that in Illinois?
No,
isn't
that's
it?
Illinois.
Illinois.
Yeah, you're thinking Detroit.
Detroit, sorry.
Yeah,
And
but
Detroit is like an empty industrial wasteland, isn't it?
yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
But the thing is, that's it. It's America is so vast. There's a lot of places that still look exactly like this in the Southeast. You go west, you get into desert, mountains. You go north, you got lots of woods, lakes, other rivers, but without the mountains. So, you drive a few hours, you're in a completely different area, culture, accent, everything.
So Bobby is the only one of the four leads whose occupation is revealed as an insurance salesman. The book reveals that Ed is a graphic designer, Lewis is a landlord, and Drew is a soft drink executive.
Wow.
But I think in the book it's basically and the author's son said quite categorically that Ed is the one that's most based upon the author.
So if he's from Atlanta and he's a soft drink executive, so he works for Coke.
Yeah. By the way,
what is it? Isn't Dr. Pepper from Atlanta?
No, it's Texas.
I know Coca-Cola's in Atlanta as well.
Yeah, no, Coca-Cola is in Atlanta. There's one of them I know was in Atlanta, but I also know the other big one was Dr. Pepper. I knew that was in the South, but I didn't know where.
Yeah, that's Texas. I forget exactly where. I'm thinking near Waco.
Yeah, this is where again John Bowman's character is trying to again make the difficult decision to say, right, this is where everything happened. And look at what Lewis's character's descended to. He's just crying like a baby because he's in that much pain.
Yeah.
So I think it's also about how there will always be somebody who will rise to the job of the occasion, isn't there?
The braggadocio. He's kind of like the Hudson of.
Yes. Great analogy there.
False bravado.
Yeah, Lewis will be crying if he gets any of that chest hair caught in his zipper.
This is great, man. This is great, man.
So Philip's popularity drove an uptake of tourists canoeing in the river and in the area, even though it's really dangerous and to go through those whitewater rapids. Several people apparently drowned after the filming of the movie.
I don't doubt it.
Bowman was asked if he felt responsible. He replied that he made the river look incredibly dangerous, so anyone who went forward knew what to expect.
Yeah, they should have, absolutely.
Again, like Excalibur, his son Charlie Bowman's in this. He plays Ed's little boy when he gets back home.
Oh, okay.
And John Voight and his then wife Marceline Bertrand were married during the filming of this movie. I think Marceline Bertrand is Angelina Jolie's wife, isn't she?
Mother, you mean?
Your mother?
I love this bit of music on the banjo here, and the minor key. It's just perfect for where you are in the movie. Does anybody else? You see, you're going to see this church on stilts, right?
Yeah.
This is where they're moving. The church itself is moving. And to me, it feels like it's like God is leaving the land.
I can
So like
see that.
the land is losing its soul, because even the church is leaving. You know, there's not going to be any people living there anymore. It's going to be a giant
Ooh,
lake,
Church of
and
Christ. There you
and it's
go.
Yep.
and
That's pretty dang southern.
Yeah, I was about to say that's pretty authentic right there.
yeah. Well, this was filmed around the time that they were actually doing this for real. But I just thought that for me, it felt that, not just the lake was killing all the wildlife and just making the whole place like sterile, but like man and all the towns and man himself was having to leave as well. And I don't know, it felt like even God was leaving because the church is leaving. But he's having to walk all this way. And there's the cars delivered there. And meantime, of course, Burt Reynolds is still injured down there, his character.
Walk it off, Bert.
Rub some dirt on it.
Come for the car, sir. It's almost an English accent, It's good. It's very roughly an English accent. Hello, sir. It's like a West Country accent, like that kind of thing, you see.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I forget. Depends on the area. I think there was a lot of Scottish that moved in.
Who was the guy who played the head Jedi in the prequels? Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but this guy reminds me of Samuel L. Jackson.
I could see that. Yeah.
It's like he's very much like the way he acts is very similar to the way Samuel L. Jackson acted at the same period of time.
Drops a lot of MFs.
Yeah. Anyway, and now he's back in the land of the civilized again. And how nice it is just to smell formaldehyde.
Yeah, pretty much.
And of course, the sex and nice. You're falling asleep. I is falling asleep.
Yep. When you wake up, I'll be finished with my vows.
And this is the other movie in a movie. This is so now the next story begins. The story of they're now back in civilization, and how do they handle what's come before and the investigation. So now we're on to the second part of the story, and this is it.
How was your boating trip?
And in the south, they have these guest houses, don't they, where everybody sits together at the same table as if they're all a big family, and it overwhelms him because he's back to normality again, and mashed potatoes and grits and all this stuff, and
Sounds delicious.
He just breaks down, doesn't he?
Oh, it is.
Because they're all, Sorry, go ahead.
Especially fried chicken. You know how hard it is to find a good fried chicken? I'm dead serious. It's easier to find a great steak than it is to find great fried chicken.
It's all oily.
Guarantee you that those folks know how to make a good fried chicken.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's all gone quiet because they know he's been through hell.
This is such great chicken.
Yeah.
Could you pass some more gravy?
What's that in the jug? Is that gravy in the jug, or is it milk?
No, it's milk.
Because I could never get over the fact that in America, gravy is like a light-colored thing, a flour thing. But over here, it's like meat juices.
It depends.
It really depends.
I love that when and then the conversation goes back to normal and they talk about the vegetables. It's 12 and a half inches long.
Yeah. I can remember lots of women wearing those glasses.
Yeah,
on there.
My nana used to wear glasses just like that. She always used to have a penny on as well. They'd always have like their overall on,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
all the
kind
time.
of miss those days.
Well, this is it, isn't it? I remember once I tried to nick what I thought was Coca-Cola out of a tin of glass bottles of pop. Remember when they were in glass bottles?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
And I swigged some down without looking, and it was vinegar.
Oh,
She must have swapped it out the bottle just to save the bottle, you know.
yeah.
And that was instant poetic justice.
Well, and that's another thing that folks don't understand, and I don't know, Jeff, and actually you guys too. Did your relatives, like your grandparents, save everything
Yep.
because they could use it later?
That was the old Depression mentality.
Yeah, exactly. That's a hangover
still do
from
that
the
now.
Depression.
Canning
Yep.
stuff and saving everything.
Oh,
My
hang
grandmother used to clean off tin foil and fold it up and put it back.
My mom still saves wrapping paper.
Yep, that
She
too.
will literally carefully take the sellotape off, unwrap it carefully, and fold it and put it away. Anyway, this is a great scene here. Have you noticed how they're both wearing the same shirt? And they have this argument, and it's a really well done scene. Yeah, and you can see it's because they're scared of being found out.
Yep, exactly.
And you're about to see Sheriff Bullard, James Dickey, and he did a decent job, you know. And this is Deputy Queen, who's the brother of the rapist, or the brother or cousin. Sorry, the cousin of the rapist.
Yeah.
And here he is, the author, the poet, and the author of the book, and the screenwriter. What about this? He's got that lovely sibilance as well, hasn't he?
Yep.
What about this? James Dickey. A couple of 3 days ago. Nobody heard from him since. Don't let him go. These boys are lying. I think Ralph's rubbing up against his microphone there.
Oh, sorry about that. I was getting all excited.
The canoes. Oh, that's a lovely line, that, isn't it? Let's just wait what comes out of the river.
Yeah.
Look at each other like that. Shared secret.
Yeah, exactly.
And dredging the river there. Now this guy driving them, right? What was Oh Brother Where Art Thou? And
Really?
Who's the actor who played the cast of Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
Yeah, George Clooney and all them.
That was inspired by this
John
movie.
Turturro's character.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
That's it. Spot on. Exactly. And this line, that's a perfect line. May I have to stop just a minute just to let the church get out the way.
It's and it's been a long time. Every now and then you used to see a house being moved.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a church be moved though.
No, I've never seen anything like that.
So, and of course, he's the craftiest of all of them. And of course, he's been pretending to be asleep the whole time.
The Bob
canoes
Sequin Center.
Yeah, the canoes are displayed in the Burt Reynolds Museum, by the way.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
The canoe used by Ronnie Cox is on display in the Tallulah Falls Railroad Museum in Dillard, Georgia. There we go. Lewis. Perfect line coming up. So,
they're going to have to kill the deputy.
there we go. So Bert's already worked out. He's going to use amnesia. Nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing. And there's a picture of
photo of them.
Yeah. Because it was Drew's car, you see, that he's driving. First time John Voight watched this finished movie was at the Warner Brothers in their screening room, and he watched it with Clint Eastwood, Jack Nicholson, and his dad.
Oh, wow. Really? So, that's a heck of a crowd there.
Yep. This is a fantastic ending scene. This because like the sheriff is like he knows something's happened. He can't prove anything, and he doesn't want any trouble. But because the whole valley is going to be flooded anyway, he's hoping that it'll all be forgotten about anyway.
Yeah.
And then he's talking about the other man, and that was one of the three, who was McKinney, his character. So, and they're just waiting for him to ask questions here. You all right?
Stay with us, man.
Hang in there, Tony.
Tony.
This is the fallout from COVID.
Oh, you've just got a stream muted now, Tony, using that word.
Oh, sorry.
But you hear about the life jackets. And he says, how come he wasn't wearing the jacket? I don't know.
Because he's Ronnie Cox, he don't need no jacket.
Yeah.
Exactly. Have you seen his arms?
Yeah. They're really long, man.
He's like, Ronnie Cox is Mr. Fantastic.
He's going to make a big robot that can't walk downstairs. Who cares if it works or not?
That's a good line, isn't it?
That's such a... I'd like to see this town die peaceful.
Yeah.
It's just, wow.
Because nobody ever liked that town anyway. Apparently it was a dive anyway. It's like an awful town.
And I mean, to be fair, once it floods, they're not going to find anything. Period.
Yeah.
Now you take off and you don't come back, you hear?
I'll never come back. Yeah. I mean, didn't want to come back.
And I got to give it. The dialogue is very believable.
It is,
and it's a very good approach to it, because that's where everybody gets in trouble, is they try and make it complicated, have an answer for everything, and it's like, I don't know why he wasn't wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sometimes you just don't know.
Still a harrowing film.
Yep. 50 years on, and it's still like this. And as he looks back,
it's just gut wrenching.
As the everything, and it's like the memory of what happened is disappearing, even because I don't know, the landscape is just being dissolved into a giant lake, and even the church graveyard, is being people are being dug out of the graves.
Yeah, and that graveyard is actually underwater now. That was part of the filming, was that whole area was being flooded. So, this was before everything was underwater.
And again, we're used to this now. This desaturated palette is in everything we watch now. But back then it was a new thing, really.
Well, it also made sense.
Yeah, and it gives you that sense of danger and dread. And there is little Charlie Borman. and who later went to star in Excalibur. And then Motorbike Round the World with Ewan. And here we go. What has come out of the water? A nightmare. Just a nightmare. They did that scene quite easily, actually. They had a diver wear like a rubber glove to make it look like the hand was bloated and like swollen, you know.
Yeah.
But
almost translucent.
And yeah, exactly. And they filmed that scene because they had to have, felt they had to have something at the end just to shock people at the end, you know.
Oh, and it shows that, you know, he'll never be over it. He'll always carry that with him.
The pre-Carrie movie.
Yeah.
And
then the way the banjos are playing there, like an oppression, aren't they? They're like in his head. Like, but yeah, I really sort of the penny dropped for me when I thought it's like Heart of Darkness. It's the horror that they've been through, which obviously it was remade into Apocalypse Now and things like that. So it's like what war veterans go through.
Yeah.
You know? And then it ends with the same scene, except no hand coming up just to make you think, when will your hand come up? So that was so well done. So there you go. What do you think, gentlemen, overall?
I'm impressed.
Yeah,
it is a very good film.
It's a beautifully made movie.
I think it'll be quickly forgotten.
Doesn't have legs.
Yeah.
But I mean, can you also, you know, what we talked about, like soundtracks as well, and how important it is to have a soundtrack for a movie, how that can really make a movie, like something like Star Wars. Without the soundtrack, it would be a shadow of itself without the John Williams soundtrack. But I mean, this movie doesn't really have a soundtrack other than the dueling banjos thing.
But
and then,
the silence is really important.
Yeah, it gives it a lot more tension.
Yeah.
And you've just got like early synthesizer chords played in the background. And
yeah, very, very simple overall.
But what I realized is that because you hear the bird song all the way through. So it's like what they're doing is they're providing like the natural sounds all the time, because they're trying to say, well, because the person who provides the music is actually Ronnie Cox's character, Drew.
Yeah.
He's like providing the soundtrack, and when he dies, sort of like, you know, the music dies with him, doesn't it?
Fades away.
Mm-hmm. So I just wondered if anybody else. But I mean, there was the myth that this had all actually happened. James Dickey tried to tell the actors one at a time, don't tell anybody this, but this all happened. Everything in the book actually happened to me. And he tried to tell everybody this as if it actually happened. I don't think it did, but I mean, he tried to tell everybody.
Yeah, well, you know, you always introduce in that question. Did it really?
Yeah. So I mean, I mean, for me, this movie is one of those films where it really grabs you, and it's so difficult to watch in regards
grabs
to
you around the throat.
It does, yeah, and it's not difficult to watch because it's badly done. It's difficult to watch because it's so well done, and it tackles really difficult subjects like how far men will go when there's no law and when they can get away with whatever they want to get away with, and the savageness and how they can descend into that horror. Because like Lewis's character thinks he's a survivalist, but he's really not a survivalist because the depths.
He's never been tested.
No,
well,
and
exactly.
The depths that people will go to, and that's what he says to you know, John Voight's character Ed. Now it's your turn to play the game, and meaning that you never know what you're going to get.
And it's that whole how far someone's willing to go just to survive.
Yeah.
Or to protect your friends.
And I see a lot of Lord of the Flies in this as well.
Oh,
Yeah, I noticed that as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely, absolutely. It was interesting that you said that because that's something that popped out of me straight away. And
Wow.
The hills have eyes.
Yeah.
it's I think it's inspired a lot of stuff, and like I say, it's also inspired Oh Brother Where Art Thou and movies like that where dealing with the Deep South. But it's also these
The funny thing
ideas.
is, oh, sorry, Brother, Where
No,
Art
that's
Thou was
go ahead, yeah.
also about an area that was going to get flooded by a dam.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah, it's
They had to
definitely
get there before it flooded, otherwise they'd never get the treasure.
Yeah, get the ring back.
Well, the Coen brothers have been like totally honest that they used this as the inspiration for Oh Brother Where Art Thou. But
And I've heard that it's like a mix of Deliverance and the Odyssey.
Yeah, it is the Odyssey. Yeah, definitely.
it is true. And another little interesting fact, by the way, sales of camping equipment plummeted, and the Appalachian camping industry was nearly bankrupted.
Oh, wow.
I saw a comment on one of the because I watched a lot of documentary stuff about the movie as prep for the show, and one of the comments left on one it was a video about Herbert Cowboy Coward. It was an interview with him. He's he's an old guy now. I think he's still alive. And one of the comments was, "You, sir, are the reason I carry a gun when I go camping."
Yeah.
So it's quite obvious, really, the impact.
It's not Sasquatch. It's him.
To be fair, I could see people not going and hanging out in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park anymore.
By the way, the ambulance. This is
still alive.
Another weird fact about this movie. There's no end of weird stuff connected to this movie. The ambulance attendant, Johnny Popwell.
Yep.
He was in the window at 1 hour 34.6 seconds.
Yes.
Actually shot and killed a man in 1975, 3 years after the film of the movie, and was sentenced to 10 years in jail.
Oh.
Shit. Ronnie Cox is the first actor cast before anybody else. I thought it was John White who was cast first. Apparently not. The guitar that Drew uses is an Epiphone. He also uses a capo, hold step up to the neck. It's in the position of G, and obviously so you can play it in A. So if anybody wants to play the song, it's in the key of A. Charlton Heston apparently declined the role of Lewis due to his commitment to Anthony and Cleopatra in 1972. Charlton Heston, that would not have worked. He's too old for the role.
No.
Totally too old. That would not have worked at all.
Yeah, too much ham there.
Exactly. The aluminium canoe has the blue and white logo of Grumman Aircraft Company that built the F-14 Tomcat and the Apollo lunar module. I don't know. I was expecting Ralph to notice that, but it wasn't.
I did not catch it.
Obviously, it was a bit fast. I only noticed it because I'd seen the notes before, but I mean, you wouldn't have caught that. That's too fast. Warner's also wanted Steve McQueen to play Lewis, and he passed the role up.
No, that wouldn't have worked either.
It wouldn't have worked at all. He's too short. But plus he was too much associated with other movies at the time.
He was a movie star, and it works better with more unknowns.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a big thing about this movie, that all four actors were relatively unknown apart from John Voight.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, and they clicked together. You could just tell the chemistry. It's like we talked about earlier about the dialogue and how they were just getting along. It's not like watching four guys acting. It's like you're really watching four guys go down the river. So,
Dickie, did you know that Dickie was awarded 5 Bronze Stars?
I did not.
What?
Yeah, he was awarded 5 Bronze Stars.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was, he flew 38 missions in the Pacific Theater.
Oof. Yeah, he was a proper man's man, wasn't he?
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's why I think he really, the reason he used to really wind the cast up was because he wanted them to get aggressive and he wanted them to really.
He needed to get them there.
worked up. Yeah, exactly. And I really enjoyed it as well. He later on,
Sometimes that's necessary, and I'm sure
well,
that at the end of the day, I'm sure the actors respected him for it.
Well, that also kind of gets me to another thing where you don't it what I've called something that's missing is a very masculine or muscular sort of personality in literature. It
Mm.
just it that the Hemingways and this guy and and like Robert E. Howard, that's kind of missing, at least as far as I've seen.
Oh no, you are correct.
So
Absolutely.
it's I mean, that's true, and I mean the overall, I mean, it's amazing that this movie did so well, because I think Warner's as well tried to limit the budget as much as possible. We talked about the soundtrack. The reason there isn't really a soundtrack is because Warner's cut the budget for it. Basically said to Bowman, "We're cutting the budget. You don't have a soundtrack," so you had to find a banjo player and just do it that way. There's been lots of rip-offs. It started a whole genre of its own. I remember I always, for years and years, because I saw this movie years and years ago, and then I saw the movie Southern Comfort.
Southern Comfort is great.
It's schlock though, isn't it? Though
it is, but it's good schlock.
And I always
the other thing I liked about Southern Comfort is the fact that for the cliche of people versus mountain men or people versus hillbillies or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
I liked that one because it was accidental. It was like the what were they? They were National Guard doing training, and it's like we accidentally moved onto their land, and that's where they're angry. It was like I liked that sort of concept of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. That, I mean, it was so over the top, but I mean, I still enjoyed it. But I used to get the end sequences mixed up, because you do sometimes when you haven't seen a movie in years, but because I was expecting some sort of weird party scene at the end, and I realized no, it's the total opposite. It's they come back to civilization, but it's all really normal and calm and civilized, and it's done deliberately to
was that Walter Hill?
Counterpoint. I think so.
I think it's Walter Hill.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he makes good movies too.
Oh yeah, definitely. The infamous "squeal like a piggy" line was originally crafted as one of the alternatives to a harsher line. Bowman decided it was actually more powerful. It was actually the more vulgar option. And it has remained with us to this day. I think there's so many more things to do, but John Bowman called James Dickey a wonderful, potent, and intimidating man. He was 6'4", and you can see he was built like what we have a phrase over here, which is built like a brick shit house.
Brick shit house.
Yeah, we got that here too.
Yeah.
Oh well, there you go.
It's a universal one.
It's a universal term.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, it was overall, I would say, a huge movie for everybody involved in it, and I don't think it's going to be forgotten at all. But yeah, as of 2021, John Voight and Ronnie Cox are the only two main cast members that are living. Main cast members. I don't know whether that includes Cowboy. He must be dead as well by now. Then that's a shame. But he had a pet squirrel, you know. I had a picture of him, but I can't find it now. If you ever get a chance to see a video about Herbert Cowboy Coward, the toothless man, he used to have a pet squirrel that would hang on his denim overalls all the time. It's a strange character, but that's back in the day. You had actors like that all the time, didn't you? So, any last words, gentlemen, before we end for tonight?
No, just
it's an incredible movie. It's horrifying, but brilliantly shot, brilliantly acted, brilliantly directed. You know, it's ticking every box, really.
Definitely. Well, on that note, everybody, and thanks for everybody who stopped by. Even though there was a little bit of shall we say, spam in the chat earlier. And let's just quickly go back to the chat before we say goodbye. We had at the start here, we had Elrod in the chat who said, don't go on boat trips in Georgia. Definitely not going to do that without a gun at my side. We had a lot of spam come back, which was blocked. Thank you very
I got
much.
a few of them.
Ralph and whoever else blocked the chat for that. Yeah, not Date Watch, says Elrod. That was a movie, that's Date Watch. And the banjo kid's now the president of the United States, and so he is. And apparently he's always been able to play the banjo. I'd like to see that on the next time he comes on a press conference.
And his hair's real blonde on his legs.
And the kids like to do things with his hair, apparently.
Yeah, and sit in his lap.
Corn pop.
Sniff hair.
Yeah. And the most amazing thing was
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Yes, but you know what? Joe showed him by becoming the legal president of America.
There you go.
So,
very
he showed him. He
very
showed him.
Legal. Nothing to see here.
Extremely legal. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you everybody who stopped by. Everybody's going to watch this later recorded, and we'll see you next time on Movie Watch Live. We're trying to do Tron. Even though we've missed the anniversary about 2 or 3 weeks ago, sad to say, obviously David Warner's passed recently, so we do have to see about whether we can cover Tron, because with David Warner passing, it certainly gives us a reason for doing so.
Yeah.
Until next time, though, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching, and we wish you all a very good night. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Later.